Welcome to Hospitality. My name is Stefan Zernecki of Black Tie Tours. With me, as always, Wesley Jones of Tour Cascadia. And Cole Alexander Rogers is behind the scenes eating a pretzel and doing a little video and other shenanigans. And why is he eating a pretzel? Because we are at Barley and Vine. Here in wonderful Newburgh, Oregon. Thank you to Brad for letting us record back here. Brad is somewhere working.
We'll get in some footage of his shop.
Yeah,
it's a cool spot. I was a bartender here for 2 years.
Thank you, Brad. And we are joined today by a native Oregonian, Oregon Duck as well,
Go
a
Ducks.
wine enthusiast, 40 under 40, tastemaker of 2020, Schladau. I said that. A fellow Southside resident.
That's right.
Southside!
Yeah.
Wine publicist for Play Nice Public Relations and executive director and founder of Assemblage, Rachel Adams.
Thank you
Hi,
so
guys.
So much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's really exciting.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to this for a while.
Likewise.
Thank you so much. So most of our listeners probably don't know what Assemblage is.
Mm-hmm.
So please tell us, what is Assemblage? What are its goals, etc.?
Yes. So Assemblage is a nonprofit organization that's based here in Yamhill County. And I started it at the end of 2018. It has taken a lot of shapes, but its truest iteration is that it's an organization that lifts the voices and experiences of underrepresented wine professionals. So we're looking at working conditions. We're looking at even like things in the realm of self-care and health. And we are also just, making sure that the workplaces that are here in the Willamette Valley are safe and healthy and happy for everyone.
Gotcha. So and when you say work with, it probably starts with a conversation, but what are kind of like the big plans? What are, what do you want to do?
Well, change the world,
Change
obviously.
the world. Yep. Yeah.
All right. Here for it.
Makes sense to me.
One winery at a time. Originally the big dream was an event. It was going to be an annual conference where women and diverse communities in wine could come together, share experiences, share knowledge and education, create mentorship opportunities. We did that successfully right before the world closed down in January of 2020. We had 300 people at McMinnville's Mac Market for 2 days of pretty intense programming around power and privilege, racial equity, gender equity in the wine industry, environmentalism, sustainability, regenerative farming. I mean, we really kind of dug deep. And so that goal still stands. We took a break in 2021 and we're going to be back in 2022. So May 3rd and 4th, 2022 is our target date, and we can't wait. But our larger goal is to wake up the wine industry to the experiences of people who don't necessarily fit the traditional norm of what you would think a winemaker or a winery owner or a vineyard manager or a tasting room associate would look like, talk like, think like.
Right, exactly. And how's that gone? I mean, have you obviously you did the big event. What's kind of do you have like resources? What's trainings or what's kind of the plan? Okay.
Actually, it's great that you bring that up because we are looking at launching a pretty comprehensive diversity, equity, and inclusion training program specifically for the wine industry this fall. And one of the things that I think has kind of plagued the Oregon wine industry for a long time is that we have this collective identity as Oregon wine people about being collaborative, about being, sort of everyone pitching in, all boats rise with the tide. But in reality, we're siloed. We're all in these tiny individual workplaces that are owned by families or owned by individuals, and no one winery, especially the small ones, tend to have the resources or the time to dedicate to this kind of training.
Right.
That's a good
And
point.
so I don't necessarily think it's because business owners don't want their teams to be educated in this way. It just hasn't been.
It's always been done X way.
Yes. And so we saw a niche to step into to provide some of that programming and education to take the onus off of business owners who may just not have the ability to do it.
Right. Well, and it's been my experience that in those hospitality roles as a manager or watching someone above me, all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I need to do diversity training.
Yep.
Starbucks and Arizona State teamed up. Let's just use theirs.
Oh, yeah, the To Be Welcoming
and
program.
there's some good stuff in that, but
Totally.
it feels very far removed from the environment that we're in,
Right.
from the conversations we're having.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool.
The wine industry has some really, there's this impression about wine and wine spaces that they're supposed to be apolitical, that, we're selling a luxury product, we're selling a luxury lifestyle, and, your top tier customer doesn't want to hear about your political views or about your sexual orientation or about your recent transition or whatever it is that you're going through. But I want to challenge that perception because the wine industry has baked into it some just natural social justice issues like land use issues and land rights, migrant labor, seasonal work, part-time labor, whether or not there's health care and benefits offered to folks.
Right.
It's an agricultural product first and foremost.
Yep.
And I don't think in this day and age that we can stick our heads in the sand and pretend that, there aren't things we need to talk about that.
Well, and the cool part about our industry is, our portion of the industry is, where are you pointing at?
And I'm pointing at the pen. I was trying to do it smooth, but didn't work. Thank you.
Is that we do have a unique collective voice in the high-end hospitality world. Oregon is this, if not up-and-coming, destination for folks that are looking for these experiences.
Right.
And realistically, we're still years away from seeing at least being comparable to a Burgundy or a Napa from that high-end standpoint. But now is the perfect opportunity for us to start laying the groundwork for what does us as a collective setting a standard of this is an equitable wage. This is how we treat our vineyard stewards.
Right.
This is what we're going to do politically or not.
Right.
And so it's cool. We are still in our infancy in a lot of ways. And as a group of young folks, we get to push in a lot of ways.
The future.
And I think Oregon is primed for that.
Yeah.
We've been renegades all along. This is a place that, there were so many naysayers who thought that the original pioneers that we so often refer to in this region were crazy to think that they could plant Pinot Noir and Chardonnay here and grow it successfully given the climate and all these things that we now know were perfect for these things. And why can't we do that when it comes to blazing a trail around equity work and around recentering human beings in everything that we do?
Right.
Yeah. Now some of the work you do, or most of the work you do, it sounds like, is about treating fellow employees or whoever with greater respect, etc.
Yeah.
What about? Have you talked much about when customers come?
Yes.
And they are not great.
Yes. And in fact, some of my most challenging experiences as a gay woman myself was in interaction with customers.
Sure.
I told a story about Assemblage about a time that I took a really high-end customer from Orange County whose political views I knew because he was very vocal about them, into the vineyard with his partner and, his wife and his kids. And he must have noticed my wedding ring because he asked what my husband did for a living. And I had this really strange moment of like, oh shit. Here it comes, because if I out myself in this moment to this person who I know shares very different values than I do, I am probably going to lose this sale, and I'm probably going to lose future sales. And I worked on commission, my
Welcome to hospitality.
salary was contingent on giving amazing customer service. And not ruffling feathers, And I also worked for a winery that I adored at the time, and I didn't want them to lose that revenue stream. And it just made me realize that I'd never had the conversation with my boss. I'd never, the winery, even though they loved me and, considered me part of their family, had never said to me, hey, I want you to know that we're always going to have your back, you know? And even just that kind of a conversation creates such a sense of belonging and trust that I think I probably would have felt comfortable saying the truth, which is my wife does this, but I lied. And I said, my husband works in education. And I went home that night and I couldn't sleep, and I was just like tossing and turning because I couldn't get past this idea that if in order to be successful in this line of work, I had to hide who I was or felt unsure that my true authentic self was okay. I didn't know what that was going to do to me over a lifetime, over a career.
Right.
And I think people are here to build careers. They're not just here to, fly in for a season and fly out.
Right.
Like we want to lay a groundwork for people to do this for their whole lives if they want to.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes. Yeah. I don't do that anymore. I don't lie about my wife.
No, please don't. We got your back. If anyone's an asshole, you send them my way.
Thank you.
We'll take care of it.
Perfect.
One of the things that we've dealt with as a group of guys is we stepped into being amateur farmers. We're working with a consultant winemaker. There's a ton of imposter syndrome that we dealt with. We had open conversations about. When you stepped into this role as really producing with a really great team, this Assemblage event.
Incredible team.
Were there moments where you go up to introduce a keynote speaker, or you're opening the evening or the afternoon? Did that imposter syndrome thought go through your mind like, I don't actually belong? Or was it something all the way through? You were like, nope, this is my spot. This is what I'm here to do. Everyone loves me.
Doesn't necessarily have to be all of those at the same time.
One or three.
Would love to say that it was the latter, but it was definitely the former.
Yeah.
I mean, I was deeply moved and motivated in this work by, yes, my own experiences, but I also knew that as a white, cisgendered, middle-class person who came from a very privileged background, that if I was experiencing this kind of backlash and oppression and discomfort in my career, that my colleagues of color were experiencing this at a much higher rate. Like, I kind of think of it like, if it bubbles up to me feeling it, then like shit's messed up.
Yeah.
Like because I have so many identities that protect me from that stuff. I'm also a very femme-presenting gay person, and so you wouldn't necessarily look at me and think, oh, she's lesbian, But as far as imposter syndrome goes, I mean, it took me until the end of day one at Assemblage to really tell the audience anything about myself. And that was the story that I shared.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like came up as this wellspring that I did not expect. But I just like got struck in this moment that I had introduced all these incredible people all day who had gotten up so bravely and told their truth to this room. And I had called everyone there, and I hadn't taken that risk in return. And I realized that I just had to do it. And, but yeah, there were a lot of like, holy shit, this is really happening, like moments. And like, who gave you permission?
Yeah.
Turns out nobody. I gave myself permission.
Yep.
And what kind of got you there, to really like take the leap with Assemblage and put together a team and, what was that like?
It was a series of experiences on my own behind the bar at multiple wineries. And then it was really like a pretty formative conversation that I had at the very end of IPNC weekend with a couple other women in the business. We just like worked our butts off the whole weekend because IPNC is so demanding, of folks who work, but it's wonderful, but it's a kick in the
People
pants.
Who actually work,
And so a bunch of us who had been working that day went back to a place in McMinnville just to like unwind a little bit. And it just sort of naturally started happening that a lot of women around the room started to share moments that they'd had at wineries that were hurtful, harmful, humiliating, degrading, and I don't remember. It might have been me. It might have been my good friend Karina Gordon over at Archery Summit, who's part of my rock star team. I was like, so what do we do about it? You know? And then like the question just kind of hung there for a while. And then I was like, what if we all got together with not just us, but everyone, and open the doors to this conversation, but bigger. Exactly. And who haven't we heard from in wine? And like, how do we stop, no disrespect to the pioneers, but like, how do we stop congratulating the same like handful of people that have done amazing things, but like, let's make some space for some new voices, for some new wines, for some new techniques, for some new ideas. And like, and then it was just a reality after that. We just didn't stop. I think I quit my full-time job like the next week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. See, I asked that question not to potentially make you smaller for feeling like you had imposter syndrome, but because
to grow
of
into
the
it.
Folks that are watching, and myself, like, there are these moments where you can do really cool things, and if you let the fear of not being enough get in the way, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And Assemblage is really fucking cool.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I'm stoked.
Thank you. And thanks for volunteering.
Who are some of those women along the way that you had good conversations with, or maybe just admired from afar?
Totally. Well, the original like tight group was Karina. We had Melissa Rondo, who was
I
like,
love Mel so much.
Mel is just
A firecracker.
mwah,
We love you,
mwah.
Mel.
We love you, Mel. Melissa and I formed, I think, probably the best working relationship of my life. Like, just the way that we collaborated. I am very like out and proud about the fact that I have ADHD, and so I'm someone who like, I'm a good visionary, but I'm not always a great executor.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I'm looking at the mirror.
That's our threesome.
That's
We're all
amazing.
like tons of energy, great ideas.
Yeah.
Not to monopolize,
We need to
but
find-
yes.
Totally. No, but this is why we like
It
each other, I
resonates.
think.
Yeah.
Because us neurodiverse folks, like, there's just nothing. Yeah, there's nothing then
start
like that mind
podcasts.
meld,
Right.
you know, that happens. But Melissa's very organized and structured, and like felt very comfortable kicking me in the ass and saying like, we needed this yesterday. Like, what is going on? And I really appreciated that and needed that.
I've experienced it.
Totally.
It's necessary.
We had Chelsea Jansen and Siobhan Ball and a advisory board of like 14 or 15 just absolute like Oregon wine luminaries, like Mimi Castile and Eugenie Keegan and so many, Kate Norris, Julia Vandy Smith. I mean, like it was a powerhouse group, and I think at the end of it, by the time we did the event, I think there were like 30 of us working on it.
Yeah. It was really cool at the end of the event to be pouring wine and looking at the lineup of all the women in the industry that were making wine or were part of production teams.
Yeah.
It was stunning. It was something I didn't recognize, I think, in the Valley until I saw them all lined up on a bar.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. Like, the old boys club is still very prominent.
Totally.
But there's some killer wine.
There's some buzz around.
And there's some young ladies that are making
Incredible stuff.
stunning wine.
Incredible stuff. Kate Payne Brown and Anna Matzinger and, you know, just so many. So I can't even count.
Yeah.
Sophia Torres McKay.
Love Sophia.
Love her so much. Yeah.
Let's see here. I got so excited I forgot to read ahead
I know. I'm on
really
it.
carefully.
I don't wanna step on your toes there.
Oh, yeah. So this is a question that I think we can handle bluntly or delicately. So just wade in however you want. In your career,
Yeah.
was there a moment where you had this light bulb moment? So something's not right about this whole environment, and I want to do or can do or will do something about it.
Yeah. I think honestly, like, it's a tapestry of a lot of experiences. The crystal moment was that night after IPNC, when I really realized that I wasn't alone in these feelings. I already knew that I wasn't alone because I had individual friends that I would trust with some of the things that were concerning me that I saw that was going on in the industry. But really sitting down and meaningfully, like, and seeing their passion and like their anger and their frustration too about the things that they were dealing with and their individual, I mean, we're not gonna like, I don't need to name names here, but like women talking about like being legitimately told by their managers that they were passed up for promotion because they're a mom, you know, and like being propositioned at work by the national sales manager, like getting an unwelcome back rub and called baby at work all the time, you know, like things that feel like they harken back to this age that is, exactly. Right. And it's funny that you bring up Don Draper because there is a little bit of a Mad Men thing considering that alcohol is around all the time.
Right. Yeah, no, it's true.
You know, and we all work these really non-traditional hours. Like at certain points I was selling wine across the country. I was in Houston, I was in Dallas, I was in Los Angeles. I was, you know, I was in other people's cars that I didn't know, like sales managers, distributors that I'm going with a ride with. Then we're back at a hotel having a wine dinner, and I'm trying to sell wine, but at the same time, like, my room is right upstairs, you know, and those kinds of non-traditional working environments. You having sound? Those.
Oh no, it's just I'm worried about YouTube nailing us for.
You want to go shut that? You just shut that door.
Oh, even better.
That'd be fine.
We'll make Nick they're gonna flag that.
And it's like, it's no good if it just gets taken down.
I know.
Sorry.
Anyway, the thing about those non-traditional work environments and hours is that we're all adults. Like, we can handle those things, but I think we need to get out in front of it and educate and train our staffs before something bad happens. And what happens so often is that we just react rather than being proactive.
Well, and also empower. Like, hey, you're allowed to say, here's the line.
Yeah.
You don't get to cross it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, for the sake of being kind and thoughtful, there are a handful of winemakers that I know have crossed that line in very far extremes.
Yep.
The folks they've been in contact with have asked the community not to do anything about it, so that's there. Gotta respect that. But it's still super prevalent, even in the industry that it's not just the national distributor from a large corporation. Like, it's here.
Yeah.
It's with us. It's in our community.
Yeah. I had a guy tell me at a portfolio tasting in New York, I guess. He was another rep for another winery. He, you know, tried to hit on me. I told him I was gay and I just got married. I'd like just gotten married. And he was like, well, you know about the 10-mile rule, right? And I was like, what's the 10-mile rule? Just going like, what am I about to step into? Yeah. And he's like, you're, you know, more than 10 miles, you're not married.
My God, who are these people? Like, I thought they were just in the movies. Like,
no, they're not. And the thing is that there's like, there's a large reckoning happening in, as you know, in so many industries, in entertainment and food and wine. Finally, it's touched the wine industry. And, you know, some of those things are about gender and sexuality and race. But I think at the crux, those things are about power. Yeah. You know, it's about who wields power and who doesn't. And because women are not immune from wielding power, you know, irresponsibly, queer people are not immune from that. Sure. BIPOC are not immune from that. So it's, you know, it's not necessarily a problem of one type of person, but I do see the connection there between power dynamics.
Historically, those that have held power for the longest.
Yeah, totally.
I'm there with you.
Okay. Straight dudes in the industry.
Yeah.
What do we do?
It's a great question.
Okay.
It's a great question. What do you do?
Tell
me about it.
I'm asking you.
What do you do every day? I'm kidding.
I want to sleep in every day. Yeah. That's what I want to do.
No, we need to get out and fight the patriarchy. No.
Yeah, I love that question because I think it's really honest, and I think you know, I've been told by many white straight men in the last couple years, like, y'all are having a hard time, you know, like, it's hard out there for white straight guys right now. And, you know, while I don't love that line of that narrative, I understand where that comes from because it's a fear of fucking up, right? And realizing that there's a wide world out there that requires a lens that maybe you don't have yet. And it's really scary when you're like, I
do?
need a lens that I don't have.
I can't say anything.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
But it is everyone's personal responsibility to go find out the things that you don't know, and to do that in a really respectful and just way. And I think, a lot of the resources that Assemblage offers to the community, books to read and TED Talks to watch and trainings to take and articles to follow, all of that applies to straight white guys. And it's just like, tune in.
Can you turn it into a game of some sort where we tackle each other and then like magically achieve enlightenment?
Can we gamify DE&I?
Right. So, yeah, that's right. Can we turn it into a first-person shooter?
Yeah. I actually, probably not.
You're like, read the articles, read a book. I'm like, oh God, okay, ooh, I can do it. But you know what
when
I mean?
you like pick the right definition of privilege, nature, then you like level up.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, new business idea. I can see it turning.
You could do like a temple run, but like trying to dodge like all of the pitfalls of the workplace. And,
Oh my God, it's like the real game of life.
Yeah, exactly. Sexual harassment.
Yeah. Exactly.
Keep your hands to your fucking self.
Yeah, I mean, it's theoretically it shouldn't be that hard, but it is. I think that men need to have a conversation about toxic masculinity, and you need to have this conversation over and over and over again. But the barrier to that is women are not the only ones who are socialized in our society to behave a certain way or to adopt a certain gender expression or identity. I mean, men are told that they're supposed to be providers, that they're supposed to be unfeeling, that they're supposed to win all the time, that they're supposed to protect the women around them. I'll never forget one time in college, my best friend's a guy, and one time in college we went out to a club and we were dancing, and there was a bunch of women together and him, and we were all just hanging out, having a great time. And this other guy comes over and goes, "Hey bro, are they all yours?" All the women, are they all yours? And he was like, he said later, he was like, I had this horrible like crisis moment where I realized that like to say yes would like maybe mean that this man didn't like try to talk to you, but it would mean me like owning, like implying that I own or like that I've got all of you in some way.
This is my herd.
Yeah, exactly, my harem. Yeah. Oh God. And so I think it's a lot, there are resources to find, there are books to read, but it's about interpersonal conversations. It's about self-work. It's about therapy. Therapy is really important for everyone, no matter who you are, where you come from. Just like flexing that muscle of looking inward I don't know the word I'm trying to find. Introspection. Thank you.
Metacognition.
Yeah, and like being able to openly talk about with each other when systems fail you and when you're feeling, like when you're.
You have this experience?
Yeah, totally. Like someone's expecting me to, do this, and it doesn't feel like who I am, and how does that, how do you deal with that? Like. I don't know. Do you guys talk about your feelings together? Do you guys like?
Actually, we started.
We did. The Keen's dinner was
as a group.
You get real with each other, and good.
Some bro
hugs. Super helpful.
Cole picked up the mic.
What do you got going on?
I just wanted to ask, and I will say, as somebody, I have been doing therapy for a little while now.
Good.
But can I still watch Mad Men and be accepted into your? Yeah,
I've seen the whole show. I've seen the whole show.
Okay. So you still like Mad Men?
Well, I mean, I shake my fist at it. It's part of the reason why I like it is because it like.
But we don't need to cancel it.
It fuels my feminist fire.
But yeah, so we can enjoy some of those things as entertainment without.
Sure. As long as you're watching it as a cautionary tale.
Right.
Sure.
Like I'm not going to be.
I'm not trying to be Don Draper.
Like as long as we're not emulating those folks and rather taking a critical lens to it and being like, wow, the 50s were really fucked up. Yeah. Like that's great.
We don't smoke in airplanes or restaurants anymore. We don't harass our secretaries.
Yeah.
It's just
when you watch that show, it's like, wow, times have changed so much, right?
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
It is.
But it's also the kind of thing that I think we have to recognize. This is what's informed our parents,
100%.
And that's what's informed us.
And our
And
bosses
this trickle down,
sometimes,
right? Like
or-
this is, there's parts of this, yes, that's entertaining. Yes, this is,
Yep.
it's, wow, that's
Shocking.
crazy. Can you believe
Yeah.
that was part of society?
Yeah.
But I grew up with the
It's
same
gonna be a long
jokes.
episode.
I know, that's right.
I grew up with the same, like my
Yep.
community was this conservative, evangelical,
Yeah.
domineering male perspective.
Totally.
And you can ask my wife, like,
And I bet you got a lot of implicit and explicit lessons about what a man looked like, what a man talked like, what a man behaved
deal
like.
with his emotions.
Yes.
Which caused lots of explosions and
Yes.
wants of
Unhealthy,
physical
like
violence.
controlling your outsides, controlling your insides with your outsides,
There you
like
go.
booze and
Thinking
I mean,
like the
for
little head
sure.
instead of the big head, and sorry
how
if that
it
was
was
too
phrased?
vulgar, but
Is that how it's raised?
well,
Okay.
it
All right.
Anyway,
You're like awkward.
who are some of the ladies that you admire?
We already talked about that. We did that already.
Kind of.
Wesley.
Kind of, not explicitly.
Okay.
I do
Not
need
explicitly.
to
We got
definitely
into the-
I do need to definitely shout out,
Okay.
just like all the women who spoke at Assemblage, like Elaine Chacon Brown, who's a force of nature. Julia Coney, these are women who, actually Julia ended up deciding to come to speak at Assemblage because she gave me feedback about how our original branding, website was not representing BIPOC in a respectful way. We originally went with a branding concept of like Rosie the Riveter, bring this yes we can kind of feel good, thing. And turns out when you want to, bring in photography and branding from that period of time, people of color are not represented very respectfully or with a lot of honor. And she was like, this isn't going to work. No, and I was so grateful that she gave us that feedback, gave me that feedback, because what that means is that she cares enough to tell us the truth and not to say, these people don't get it. Obviously, this is a white-led organization for white people, and it gave us the opportunity to, when you know better, do better. And there have been so many moments like that as a result of the incredible generosity of some amazing women of color who have stepped into this space with us. I can't believe how lucky we are. I've learned so much.
Outside of all this, I got one more question. I know we're coming up on our time.
Okay.
What gives you life outside of work?
Well, my wife's pretty freaking awesome. We've been together 10 years. We have been married for 5. We got engaged actually before it was legal here in Oregon, and when the Defense of Marriage Act was still standing nationally. And so when we got engaged, a lot of people were like, "That's so exciting!" And then the second question was like, "But how?" But how? Yeah. The other thing that gives me life is cooking. I am a huge home cook. I make beef Wellington every year. You're a big home cook too.
I'm a big home eater in particular.
But you are. I've seen your Instagram.
My phone was out at 7:30 the other morning on his smoker.
7:30 on the tray.
Yeah.
But
So
I do enjoy
maybe
it,
we need a little Iron Chef throwdown or something at some point.
Oh gosh, I'd be embarrassed. I have my go-to dishes.
Yeah.
What's your go-to?
I'll bring my chef.
Okay.
If you just know you want to kill it.
I mean, beef Wellington is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that just
people
is,
love that, and
That's
it makes
hard
me
to
feel
do
really
well.
proud of myself.
Puff pastry is not easy.
Yeah, actually, Paul Bouchon from Recipe saw me on Christmas Day in Fred Meyer buying Pepperidge Farm frozen puff pastry, he was like, "Come by the restaurant, put that back immediately. Come by the restaurant, and I will give you pâte à choux with Normandy butter." And it was the best beef Wellington I've ever made in my life. So thank you, Paul. Yeah, cooking is amazing, and I mean social justice is a big part of what I do when I'm not on the clock too. Is just I like to be informed and aware and in conversation and in community as much as I can.
Okay, and you have a plug to make?
I do. July 24th at Mac Market, the same place that we had Assemblage in McMinnville, there's going to be a BIPOC block party that is what? What time? Oh boy.
I'm concerned.
It's is there a conflicting event?
You should have gotten the Facebook invite.
Oh.
We're doing another party.
Anyway,
but we'll figure out the
right.
times. Yeah.
The block party.
It's all right.
Do both.
This block party
do
is
both.
gonna go real late. So
okay, sweet.
Go
This
to
is
one,
day.
come to
This
one.
is daytime.
Okay. Party all day.
That was close.
This
You
is
can't
daytime.
drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
Right, there you go. Perfect.
Get a responsible driver.
It's actually being
so at Mac Market,
helmed by Our Legacy Harvested, which is another amazing
Cool.
nonprofit organization that's run by T-Cat Bramlett, who's like one of my favorite people on the planet. And there's going to be 30 vendors.
Go see him at Vidon.
Yeah, go see T-Cat at Vidon Vineyards.
So Mac Market, 30 vendors.
All BIPOC-owned businesses.
Okay.
All BIPOC.
And explain what BIPOC is.
Yep. Black, Indigenous, people of color.
Thank you.
And so all local businesses run by people of color, and dance performances and music and food, and just a celebration of people of color entrepreneurs in our community.
I think if they do that every year, it can add to my favorite day of the year, my second favorite day of the year, other than Christmas.
Yes.
Because that's when we always do the party. Is the salmon bake day.
Right. Okay.
Because
On
of Old
IPNC.
Fashioned Festival.
Aha.
So if they do it that same Saturday, that would just enhance my favorite day of the year.
It's an incredible event. It was my favorite event that I went to last year. So
you know what would make that day even better is if Wesley would perform his interpretive dance at your dance competition, because
Can we please do that?
Wesley's quite the dancer.
So that's going to
I'm gonna
happen
need to
I feel like
see
at some point we
that.
should.
9:30.
As the
We're just
whitest
gonna-
guy you've ever met, I don't know that that's
We'll have
the place
the-
for me to go do an
We'll have maybe
See,
not
you've got the
there, but at my
lens.
block
fucking
party. At the
hate
block
these
party.
guys so much.
Wes he's already promised he's going to do it
Get
on
out.
camera.
This is
Yeah.
why we kicked you
As
off.
soon as we get up to
This is
1,000
why you're not part of
followers.
the main table of the podcast anymore, because you say shit like this.
All right.
We're gonna
we
take a
need
quick
to take
break.
a little break. Take a
Okay.
little break, and
I'm
we'll
gonna
be
open
right
Skull Wine.
back.
thanks, guys.
Okay. Okay. Welcome back to Hospitality. We have, of course, our Sports Minute and Brutal and Beautiful, but Rachel, you just shared something really cool.
Yeah, I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
We are actually sitting in the room where Assemblage was planned. From
room
start
where it happened.
to the room where it happened.
Exactly.
Oh, shoot.
In the room.
happens.
Careful, lady.
Hamilton. Okay.
Yeah, so this is where we had all of our planning committee meetings for the entire thing. So it feels good to be home.
Yeah,
Great.
working here for M was super cool.
Yeah, Emily, she's the best.
Kept us up to date
Yes.
on all the progress. I love him. Em, if
All
you're
right.
watching, I hope you're well. You're the
Yeah,
tortoise.
we miss you.
Okay, Sports Minute. U.S. sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson is not invited to be on the Olympic team because she tested positive for marijuana.
Olympics.
And she won her.
She's the
trials.
fastest woman in the history of the United States, is what she is.
She's freaking amazing.
Unbelievable.
And she lives in a state where it's totally legal.
Here.
Here.
Yeah.
She also happened to have been told by a reporter that her mother died in an interview,
In an interview.
and then promptly went and smoked a joint or something right after that, because who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Right.
And was at a competition. She just won the trials and broken the record for, I think, 100 meter
100
She's a
meter.
sprinter, yeah.
dash.
Mm-hmm.
So now, like, besides, who thinks marijuana is a performance-enhancing drug?
Fucking
No.
unbelievable.
It's just so
It's
old school. It's
unreal.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's-
it's just sad. It's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah.
We could talk more about it, but
I feel bad. I feel so
It's-
bad for her. But
yeah, exactly.
the silver, it's not really a silver lining, but she's a 21-year-old who's probably going to be faster than everybody else in 4 years. So hopefully this just lights a fire under her ass and she comes back and wins the
Well,
Hopefully
Olympics in
this
4
is
years.
a push for change.
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like-
That's true, Wes.
Because
Like if there
there's-
is a silver lining.
But I just mean
Yeah.
it for her sake. It's not like she's in her late 20s and she's never going to be this fast. She's probably still going to be the fastest woman in the world next
Yeah.
Olympics.
But yeah, hopefully this really starts the conversation.
But I agree with that. I completely agree with
Right.
Wes.
Well, and like, what do you think would have happened if like Bodie Miller had tested positive for marijuana, or
Well,
like
Michael Phelps
Phelps.
was smoking weed publicly
Thank you.
during the lead up to the Olympic
right?
trials.
So like, there's some really
How
like
does this go down?
ingrained systemic racism happening here. That's like,
when it gets deeper than that too.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about swim caps, and
yeah.
it's
I mean, the
Testosterone.
have you
Olympics.
guys heard about that? And in
Yeah.
testosterone, and it's
Yep,
like
yeah.
There's 7
I will
or
not
8
be tuning in
black
this year.
women athletes that are not competing.
And it
this year
sucks
in the
because
Olympics.
these people work so hard
For no
to
pay.
get where they are for no pay.
No pay.
Yeah.
And it's just another way of keeping non-traditional, like whatever that means, out.
Well, we've always done it this way.
Yeah. So that's proof that it's the right way.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the amazing thing about constructed systems is that they can be deconstructed.
Hey,
Just imagine a new way.
how about that?
Just imagine a new way.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Be creative.
All right, NBA Finals. I don't care.
I hope Chris Paul gets a ring. 16 seasons in.
I do care about the finals because it's not the Lakers or the Celtics or one of the other standard teams that's always in the finals.
Warriors.
I mean, I agree with you, Stefan. It's like, who gives a shit? We're from Oregon, and like, I don't. But at the same time,
I want to root against
CP3.
LeBron.
We talked about it on the EIA episode, but he deserves a championship.
Also, Devin Booker, him or hate him or love him. Like
I love Devin Booker.
He's taken the spirit of Kobe. If that's not
100%.
too soon to
He's a
say,
killer. Yeah, he's a killer.
he
No,
just has
he's
this
a killer.
instinct.
Speaking of Devin Booker, so I'll tie in the video, but there was an amazing video of a Suns fan who was in at I think game 3 or game 2, and there was 2 Nuggets fans. This is in I think round 2 of the NBA playoffs, and these 2 guys are just talking shit, and he's talking shit back, and then one of them just attacks him, and he just
Sucker punched him.
starts demolishing this one guy,
like a hockey
Booker?
fight.
punches the other one.
This is in the stands.
And then he looks up at both of them, and they are walking away. He just beats the shit out of both of them, and he goes, "Suns in 4."
And this
And
kid's
they
a celebrity now.
Yeah. So then Devin Booker on his Twitter, like 2 days later, just writes, "Need this guy's information." Buys him tickets to the finals, dude. The guy's got seats to the finals because Devin Booker was like, "I want that guy at our games."
Right.
Love it.
That was an amazing moment in the
That's
NBA.
good
Yeah.
Oh,
My
God.
favorite video of the NBA season so far. Suns in 4.
Speaking of fighting,
Connor versus Dustin.
Yeah.
Connor McGregor and Dustin Poirier.
Oh, this fight tears
trilogy
me
fight.
apart.
It's a trilogy fight, but Poirier already won twice.
No. Connor knocked him out the first
Connor
time.
won the first one.
That
was
was in 2014,
okay. but this is-
2015, 6 years ago.
So what happened if Connor loses?
So that's where
If
I'm
Connor
like,
loses, hopefully he goes away forever,
He's
and we
gonna go
never
away
have to
forever,
hear his name.
Right?
it's interesting to hear UFC fighters because they all are secretly hoping Connor wins because Connor is so important to the sport as far as like the massive
Anyone who fights
draw.
him makes so much money.
and he just if he wins he stays relevant, which means the sport stays more relevant because people want to watch him fight.
Right.
But honestly, Dustin Poirier is a way better human being. And
I love Dustin.
the guy gets on the mic and is like, "I love my wife. I love my kids." Like,
I'm going to
great.
donate
He's a good human
portion
being.
of my purse to the Boys and Girls Foundation of
Yeah.
Louisiana. Like,
Yeah, I want Dustin to
guy
win,
you
and I
wanna
won't hold that back. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if Connor wins the fight. I just feel like Dustin's a
if it
better
goes to
person.
decision, Connor's going to win.
But you
if
want
it's,
to see. You want to see.
crooked.
I think if it goes more
That's
than
the
2
thing.
rounds,
in
Dustin
the big
wins.
fights, you want to see greatness. You want to see somebody rise up. And if Connor does that, good for him.
Sure.
But at the same time, I'd love to see.
I wanna see
It's, that's why I'm so excited about the fight. It's like a win-win.
I've always
As long as
hated.
it's a good
I've
fight.
always hated the guy that took on like the bad guy persona.
Oh,
That's just
yeah.
an
The heel.
asshole for the sake of being an asshole.
Yeah.
That's Connor.
Like,
He sells
hopefully,
tickets.
hopefully
I'm
he gets.
clearly an expert in this
Come on.
area.
Yeah.
We figured you
and,
would know a lot about
Please.
this.
Yeah, so I
Contribute.
concur with everything that you've said.
Done.
I'm so
You're
glad.
brilliant,
Thanks.
all of you.
Thank you so
Shohei
much.
Ohtani. Can we talk about baseball?
I love talking
Shohei
God,
about
he's
Ohtani.
so crazy.
Oh my God! So he's
Impressive.
breaking Babe Ruth's records right now as a pitcher who's also leading the league in home runs, which is unheard of. Half the league pitchers don't even bat.
Wow.
So he actually got voted into.
He's
the
a
All-Star
real
game
man.
Twice
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
as a batter and as a pitcher,
and I heard a hot take about him
and
from.
he's going to be in the home run derby.
I don't know enough about baseball to remember this guy's name, but a legendary pitcher who's now a commentator in the MLB. He was saying if Ohtani didn't actually hit, he would probably right now be right there with Jacob deGrom, like in the ERA
Right.
category. His arm is so good that if he was just a traditional pitcher, he would probably be if not like maybe leading the league in ERA. I think he's second right now, still leading the league in home runs.
Right.
But he was almost like they should take him off, like keep him from batting because he's so good at pitching.
Right.
He'd be throwing no hitters and let them have a few less home runs.
Yeah, we'll see how long the team lets him hit.
It's true, man, because he is that good of a pitcher.
Yeah, I hope they keep
so
letting him
entertaining.
That's what's so remarkable about him, though, is that he's just so talented that
it's so good for baseball. It is so good for
hot.
baseball.
Yeah, it's gonna lead. It's gonna lead to a lot of young guys who are. The old trend was like, I don't need to be a good hitter, right? I got an arm. I guarantee you, in the next 10, 15 years, we're gonna see a lot more pitchers who can hit because they're gonna realize I don't have to.
Do you remember that LSU pitcher in the College World Series that lied to his coach?
Totally.
I've never watched the College World Series in my
life.
life.
He gets up to bat, hits a home run, comes out. He's being recorded afterwards, and
Rich said too much.
The reporter's like, "So did you hit in high school?" And he's like, "No, I didn't hit. I just told my coach I hit dingers in high school," and gets up and randomly hits. Anyway, I love baseball. I'm a baseball nerd. Sorry.
Keep
I've
dreaming.
never watched college baseball my entire life.
Bryce, your doppelganger, Bryce.
At this point,
Bryce
I'm a
Howard
has-been, and it
Bryce
hurts. I'm just starting to realize, like, I'm of the age I don't have any more eligibility. I'm not going to get picked up by
You're never going to play
your
football sports
doppelganger,
games.
Bryce Harper's
dreaming,
heating up.
Wesley.
It's wiffle ball and Stefan's front yard.
Let's go.
That's it for me.
The summer's only so long. All right. And let's move on to what is brutal and what's beautiful. We'll start with brutal.
Okay, so we'll piggyback off sports.
Yeah.
I am an entrepreneur, a poor entrepreneur, and could use some extra capital right now.
Samesies.
So if anyone has some extra capital you want to bless Daddy with,
you need to write off.
Bring it to me. I saw that a Michael Jordan rookie card sold for $300,000.
Whoa.
Well, that's really cool. And I'm looking closer, and I was like, wait a second. That card
familiar.
looks familiar.
No way.
I go into my box that I've had since a kid.
Yeah.
I've packed it with me now like 14 times in moves. I pull out this card. It's the exact same card. I was like, he's rich. Wait a second. $300,000.
Wait, but isn't there something about like condition?
There's
So
more.
this is in a case.
No way.
It's in a plastic case. It's prime condition. I turn it over, and the back.
I'm not the only one.
It's close quarters here.
Yeah, it
says
Stefan's
replica, one of 10,000. So the card that sold, they had basically photocopied it to make more of this
Got
one
it.
card. It's worth $8.99 on eBay right
Yeah,
now.
buddy.
If you can get the money
But
for it.
but for like a solid 15 minutes, I was like, holy shit.
I'm sorry, man.
That's
I'm
it.
rich.
Like, Mama, I'm moving us into a new house. We're going. Like this, I can buy all the vehicles I want.
That's right.
$300,000.
Wow, so close. Yep, so far.
So then I
I'm
promptly just cried into a glass of wine and
Brutal.
texted the boys. And
Brutal.
I'm sorry. Let's see. Oregon farm worker died during the heat wave out of
Seriously
St.
brutal.
Paul.
Seriously brutal.
Negligence, obviously, by the employer, making people go work out in the field during 114, 116 degrees.
Yeah. Here's
What
the thing,
fuck?
obviously they shouldn't have been out there, but it's such a nuanced issue in terms of like who can just like forgo a day's pay when something that you have no control over like rolls in, environmental concern rolls into town. And as the climate continues to warm and as we continue to see these horrible trends, these awful wildfire seasons and these horrible heat waves, like OSHA needs to step up and develop some, smoke and heat protocols and thresholds at which it is literally not legal for you to be, running.
A lot of employers will not just do the right thing. Because, I would imagine the right thing would be send these guys home, give them a day's pay.
Yep, exactly.
Let them rest up, and when it's cooler, get
Exactly.
back to work.
Like,
pay them for a day's work.
Yeah,
right.
Get a day's pay. Yeah.
Right. Like, you were going to pay him anyway, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so it's
tragic. Is what
yeah,
it is.
it's tragic. And even additionally more tragic is that the consulting company or the contracting company that hired him, he'd only been on the crew for about 3 months and no one knew his name.
God,
They were
sad.
still trying to identify him and identify who he was to inform his family after
God,
press
that
came
says
out.
so much about our
He's from
labor
Guatemala.
situation.
He was there 3 months and nobody knew his name.
Damn it. Well, That is sad.
Yeah, they're moment of acknowledgement for that man.
For people that do the work.
Yeah.
For the food we eat.
Absolutely.
And in I think both in Newburgh, in Pride Month, 2 businesses that were waving a pride flag both got torched.
Yeah.
Some motherfucker
tried to burn them.
Yeah, they didn't burn all that well, but
because you can't get us down.
Clearly they.
We're here. We're queer. Get used to it.
Those flags were quickly replaced.
Yeah.
And exactly. You're not gonna keep us down.
But it just goes to show, and my partner and I have this conversation quite a bit. Even as liberal and progressive of a wine community as we are, it's still a rural farm community. There's still backwards little fuckers that
it's wine country
are gonna do their thing.
Still the country.
Right, when we going back to the Mad Men conversation that we had earlier, when we're all like, it's such a cool thing to watch because we've come so far, right? Like, I hear this all the time from people who are straight who want to tell me as a queer person that we've come so far, and they want to see me be like, I know. Isn't it great?
Congratulations.
But it's like
then things like
this happen.
Hey, by the way.
Or like 2 weeks ago when I was in the airport in Idaho and I was FaceTiming my wife and I said I love you and I hung up, and then the lady next to me literally looked at me and said, it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
Jesus.
Like, we deal with this shit all the time, and so I've actually gotten like a lot more vocal about all the vandalism and stuff that has been happening in Yamhill County on my Instagram, and I'm like, hey, sorry followers, my Instagram's a real drag right now. But like, I think part of my responsibility is to like help people who don't live marginalized lives to understand like how frequently this happens, so that there isn't a perception that we've come so far when like we still need y'all. Like, we still need your allyship.
Right. Those stories are really important.
But I will say Remy Drabkin at Remy Wines, who is amazing, made a great point at the 2nd annual Wine Country Pride, which is so freaking amazing that happened.
Thanks for letting us be a part of it as Renegade.
Yeah. She said, the flag was flying to be burned. Like, it was there, and that in and of itself is a win.
Yeah. But on a brighter note, let's see. Oh, beautiful. So our beautiful. I got a couple beautifuls. 2 of my favorite YouTubers have quit their full-time jobs, and are now YouTubing full-time. I love these stories. They're both car YouTubers.
Another topic I know a lot about.
Cars, yeah.
Sarcasm is my skill.
Okay.
So is this when we plug the Patreon? And
we
would all like to
retire. There are ways to support us that are coming that are more than just throwing us money. But I love it. These guys, like, they were putting in like 80-hour weeks. Working full-time jobs. And doing their YouTube channel like full time, and it's important for people to understand, like, if you want to be successful, sometimes you just gotta put your fucking head down. Like, even if it's something you love, like the YouTube or whatever, maybe it doesn't end up working out, whatever. Yeah. But you're doing it because you love it. But you put in that time, and sometimes it really does pay off. And now they're full-time YouTubers. They work on their cars and they make videos and they're living their fucking dream. Like, that's so cool. Like, I mean, it's like our dorky little podcast. We put in the time and we're having fun doing it. But like, I could be at home right now,
Sure.
And whatever.
Eating
but like,
Cheez-Its and sitting in your pool.
Yeah. Oh, we could be.
I'm always here for a hard won success story for sure. And it's even better when it represents someone who isn't expected to make that kind of a mark. That's awesome.
Yeah, good stuff.
You go for this. I don't.
Pizza.
Pizza.
This is a Cole thing.
Portland is the best pizza city.
We went to New York not long ago, and basically our only comparison was that Portland pizza is shitty, and that's the only thing we've tasted. Well, not Portland, but like local pizza.
Our area, yeah.
/ Portland.
Except Honey Pie, we love you.
Honey Pie is delicious pizza, but honestly, for the most part, pizza's pretty subpar in this area.
Pizza.
Yet, I was just looking bored at work the other day and found that There was a Bloomberg article that said that Portland is the top pizza city in the United States. I would say bullshit, but
I mean, have you
have
had
to try.
Ken's Artisan Pizza?
I have to try.
It's a good point.
Well, you haven't?
It's really freaking good.
And let me add this. Before
maybe it's time.
We didn't taste the best pizza places in Portland before we made that episode.
It's true.
So we kind of got, I would say, called out by this article. We have to check our work. We have to taste all the places that they listed in this article, and we'll get back to you guys.
Challenge.
Boys, next Tuesday.
Let's just say John's of Bleecker. Do we think there's something better than John's of Bleecker in Portland? No.
Good. See, that's the thing is the style of pizza is so because the coal-fired Brooklyn style pizza like the Giuliana's is so much more prevalent out here. That chronic crust, that flavor. But like the John's, like New York style.
Oh, I'm so hungry right now.
The stuff from.
I want another 2 of those larges.
What was the other one we went to? Not Best Pizza. The other one that we went to after John's. Anyway.
It was another man's name.
No, that was John.
Right.
That was that a John's?
John's of Bleecker, and then maybe just John's.
We went to John's and we went to Joe's.
Joe's.
Joe's was amazing too, though. Super flat, amazing
they were
sauce.
just so different. They were a different style. So yes, I'm willing to try more.
I mean, I think we've got an episode in the making.
Amen.
My wife and I actually went to like the birthplace of pizza in Naples, which is called Pizzeria di Michele.
Wow.
Pizzeria di Michele.
And we tried to order wine, and they were like, "We don't have wine." Like
Really?
Italians drink a lot less than I thought they do.
Oh my God.
It was
Pizza
crazy.
and wine is like my favorite
I know.
combination.
I was like, I'm gonna need a Chianti for this, and he was like, I mean, I think we have some like old beers in the back, basically. Like, I was like trying to get my like pizza wine thing on.
It's like
and
boom, boom.
Yeah. I will say one thing I liked about this article is that it highlighted like the diversity of the styles of pizza that we have in Portland, which I hadn't really thought of before. Like they were talking about the Neapolitan at Nostrana, and then I can't remember what sort of the classification was for Ken's Artisan, but I was like, I'd never really thought about that. We do have quite a range.
Let's go. I think we have some work to do.
We could become the pizza authorities for Portland. Bloomberg,
I can see it.
If you're paying for consultants,
to
let me know.
counteract.
Wesley's like, another income opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm broke right now, so if y'all
All right. Yeah, exactly. All right. And one more beautiful.
You accidentally won $200?
That was
Accidentally?
Accidentally. I was at the casino with Kevin, my
When?
my gambling buddy, yesterday.
Which casino?
Spirit Mountain. And
I'm a Chinook Winds gal.
I was up a little bit. The
All right.
leprechaun was good to me. Cole, I'll send you the video. And I sat down at the video roulette, and I always bet on 13. I always put $1 on 13 because that's my number. It's my lucky number. And the thing was running down, and I realized, I put down $5 because the last person who sat there was doing $5 instead of $1 increments. And I was like, well, I guess I'm betting 5 on 13, and that was it. Then it fucking hits 13.
Whoa!
That will never happen again.
That's
I will never
print.
I mean, you took a lot of
cash out.
actions to win that $200. I don't know if you can say it was an accident.
It should have been $39.
I mean, there was chance involved.
There was, but I mean, it
understand.
should have been $39.
Yeah.
But somehow I magically got $200.
Done.
It was wonderful.
People might be surprised by this, but I love a great like video poker machine.
Dude, all day.
Stefan knows them all. He knows the layouts of the
Once
casino.
a month,
Also,
I go to the casino.
Lexi, my wife, and I go play bingo at Chinook Winds.
Yeah.
Like most weekends in the summer.
Free soda,
Nice.
baby.
On
Most
Sundays,
weekends?
free soda.
Yeah.
Free soda
Tell me
and
about it.
all of the like just adorable like elderly ladies that you can handle.
What if,
And-
Talk
we
to
put,
him?
what if we put
Oh,
together
yeah.
an industry casino night, like once a month?
Bingo
I'm
night?
so down.
Someone other than us driving.
I'll hire somebody.
Wait,
hire
there's
somebody.
a
Let's
shuttle.
do 15
I got a
passenger
15
van.
There's a
passenger.
shuttle
Yeah.
that goes from the valley to Chinook Winds.
Where does it pick up?
I don't know. I've never taken
Okay,
it, but
all
I've
right,
driven.
Mac,
I've
we'll
like
figure
I've
it
been
out.
like ships passing the night with
We
this
will
big
let
shuttle
you
that's
know.
like free.
We need to make this happen.
Well, it
I'm
happens at
down.
11 a.m.
All
on
right,
Sundays.
I'll
It's
send
not
Cole
really
the
a
video of
nighttime
me
activity, but
dancing to the
Rachel,
leprechaun.
thank you.
you
for being
guys,
here.
so fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's hang out soon.
I would love that.
Let's go to the
We can
casino.
do it again.
I
We can do
love
the
that.
casino.
Maybe the
Yeah.
24th. You come over to
Assemblage
Stefan's.
will be in
Perfect.
May.
Yep, Assemblage next May, and BIPOC Block Party
BIPOC on
on
the 24th?
during the day on July 24th down in
And
McMinnville.
Assemblage this year is going to be open to
Yeah, thank you so much. We no one's not been affected by what's happened and transpired over the last year and a half. And we feel really called to widen the scope of what Assemblage is up to. So if anybody felt like it wasn't the place for them because of our particular priority of women as a community, this is information that we all need to share in, accountability and processing and learning. And so it is an all call this year. Okay. Come one, come all, come kids, come adults, come families, come everybody.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. See you there.
Sounds like fun.
Thank you so much for
being
here.
Thanks, you guys.
We will see you next week.